Well, the problem is you're not just scheming for him. You know, Floyd is not a bag of rocks. That guy's a great player. They have two of the best inside players in the league, and they have a great blitz scheme. So it's easier said than done. Let's put two guys on Mac. They blitz enough where you can't get help.
John Gruden preparing for the inevitable on Sunday in London when he finally gets to face the guy he traded away for more lottery tickets. He had a lottery ticket that was an all-time winner, the grand jackpot, and he traded him away for more lottery tickets, and now he has to face Khalil Mack. Look, the Raiders surprised me in Indianapolis. I thought they were going to get destroyed by the Colts, so I'm a little hesitant about this one, but the Bears look pretty damn good. Even with Chase Daniel at quarterback, that defense is so dominant, I don't think it's going to matter against Oakland.
Mike, I'm very disappointed in you and your analysis of this game. I thought you would bring up the all-important travel schedule because we have two different approaches. You love to talk about stuff like this. The Raiders went from Indianapolis to London. The Bears waited until yesterday to go to London. I actually think that helps the Bears, even though you want to talk about body clock. The Raiders have now been on the road forever. They left from Oakland to go to Indianapolis, and they went straight to London. Once you get to that fifth, sixth day on the road, you want to go home. It's weird. It's not normal. So I think that also helps the Bears. They were going to win anyway, but come on, Mike. Throw the people a bone. Let's talk about some travel scheduling. I know you love that stuff.
I didn't even mention it at all. I haven't mentioned it in weeks. And here's the thing about London. Now that you pulled me down that rabbit hole, different teams approach it differently. But there's no clear answer to what's right. And look, I mean, what's the Raiders' alternative? They're going to hang around Indianapolis, all due respect. I love Indianapolis, but you're going to hang around there for 5 days and then go to London? You may as well just go to London and get acclimated. And I don't think it's going to matter. We're not going to be able to tell the difference because the Bears are going to kill them whether they play in London, Chicago, Oakland, or Tokyo.
Big agree. I think the Raiders are in a big world of hurt here, with especially with Khalil Mack. That extra motivation. I mean, Khalil Mack is already incredible. And then add a little extra motivation. Roquan Smith said he's going to play. Chase Daniel is going to be fine. I think the Bears' defense is going to dominate, probably pick up a score themselves, and the Bears are going to win by 10+.
What a difference a week makes in the AFC North. The Ravens are now 2-2. The Browns are 2-2. And here are the Steelers at 1-3, hosting Baltimore. It still is one of the great rivalries in football, Big Cat. And even without Ben Roethlisberger, Mason Rudolph, they have that offense with the controlled passing game. They got Jalen Samuels playing the Wildcat quarterback and contributing in the running game and receiving game. And look, I know it was just the Bengals Monday night, but I saw a renewed fire and spirit in the Steelers that we hadn't seen all season, and they're definitely going to be bringing it on Sunday against a team that they hate.
Yeah, and the Ravens are one of those teams where, Mike, we have, what they've done in the past in our mind in the present. You see the Ravens out there, you see the purple jerseys, you think their defense is flying around. Their defense has given up now over 1,000 yards in 2 weeks, in a 2-week stretch. And when you look at their schedule, I still feel like we are living off that Big 12 score. It looked like Oklahoma versus Kansas week 1 when the Ravens played the Dolphins. We're living off of that because then they played the Cardinals tight week 2, lost to the Chiefs. That score wasn't as close as the game was, and then got embarrassed by the Browns. I think the Ravens have some big time issues on the defensive side of the ball, and I think the Steelers, like you said, are going to be jacked up for this game. It's going to be close, but I think the Steelers will be back in this picture. And wouldn't it be classic, Mike? The year where the hype for Lamar Jackson is rolling, and he's been great. The year where the hype for the Browns is rolling, and they've been good. The Steelers lose Big Ben, and then somehow find a way to still win the AFC North.
Yeah, pull the inside straight. I remember they had a couple of horrible games 30 years ago. They got blown up by the Browns, blown up by the Bengals. Everyone gave up on them, and they made it to the round of 8 that year with Bubby Brister, I think, at quarterback. One last thing about the Ravens. I think they came out of those first 2 games thinking this is going to be a special season. And I think they emptied the tank at Kansas City and pulled all those tricks and went for it on 4th down and went for 2. They did everything they could to try to win that game because a special season truly happens if you beat the Chiefs in Kansas City. And I think it popped the balloon for them, and now they're just trying to figure out where they are. And I think they're walking into a buzzsaw in Pittsburgh. I agree with you. I think the Steelers are going to win that game. All right, Tampa Bay at New Orleans. Jameis Winston trying to eat a W back in the building where he created that gif for the ages 2 years ago when they were trying to beat the Saints there. They failed that day. Will they fail this time?
Yes, they will, because this is one of those situations where the NFL is so week to week, and if you're up 1 week, you're down the next. Everyone loves the Bucs because of what they did in L.A. People are saying Bruce Arians has fixed Jameis Winston, but now he has to go to the Dome. Now he has to play against a defensive line like the Saints. I think this is going to be a step back for Jameis Winston. He's going to revert to old Jameis, turn the ball over. And the Saints, Teddy Bridgewater is not lighting the world on fire. He's not throwing the ball downfield. He's kind of I don't want to say he's a game manager, but he's somewhat of a game manager. But it works for the Saints because they clearly have a way about, what they're doing. They have a system. They're going to win the game now with their home crowd advantage, with their defense, with their running game. And I think the Saints will win this game somewhere in the 4-7 range, if that gives you a clue on what you want to take.
I agree with you on that. And, my theory on the Saints has been, I don't know if I mentioned this last week, but I feel like the Drew Brees injury was the hard reset for the Saints, the reboot of the computer that made them forget about the NFC Championship game, forget about the Minneapolis Miracle, and just rally the troops and do what they can to try to win football games without Drew Brees. And here they are. They won in Seattle. They beat the Cowboys. Sean Payton, shortlist Coach of the Year for what he's accomplished without Brees, and I think they keep it rolling.
Mike, mark it down. 7:41 in the morning. That's the earliest you've ever made a good point when I'm on the show. There you go.
Wow.
That's a good point. I like that point. I really do. I like that point. I think it changes the dynamic of the locker room, and they have to say, hey, now, everyone's against us. No one expects us to win. It's people are saying it's a lost season, and they can rally around Teddy Bridgewater. 7:41, earliest you've ever made a good point on this show.
Well, next week I'll go for 7:24. That'll be the over-under next week. All right. Bills and Titans get together. The Music City Miracle rematch 19 years later. And my take on the Titans is very simple. It's been proven out. When you expect them to lose, they win. When you expect them to win, they lose. So I expect the Bills to win this weekend, regardless of whether it's Josh Allen or Matt Barkley at quarterback, Big Cat.
And not only that, I agree again with that. You're on a roll. That's 2 for 2 on takes, even though you just mentioned the Music City Miracle like they haven't played in the last 19 years. That was a weird thing by you.
But it's still.
Yeah, it's a weird thing by you. But
wait, I'm not the guy talking about makeup calls from 2015 on Clay Matthews.
But that made sense.
When he was with a different team.
That made sense.
Go ahead.
I think people are going to see the Bills here, and they're saying, okay, they played the Patriots tough last week. There's going to be a letdown effect. I actually think it's going to be the reverse effect because the Bills played the Patriots so close that they went away from that game saying, hey, we have something here. This is a team that can build on it. This is a team that if, Josh Allen can take care of the ball a little bit more. And guess what? If Josh Allen's in the fourth quarter there, if you've watched any Josh Allen, he just makes plays down the stretch. That's when he does the Josh Allen thing where he runs around and he makes game-winning plays. So they're going into this game saying, we can win this game. We have something here. And, Mike, circle this game right now because this game could decide that 6th seed in the AFC wildcard. These are going to be two teams that I would imagine are going to be around that 9-7 zone, and this could mean a lot when we look back in late December trying to figure out who's in the playoffs and who's not.
I mean, I appreciate the analysis. It was very cogent. It was very lucid, and it was persuasive. But it's very simple for me. Titans are favored, so they lose. If they were the underdogs, they would win. That's the Mike Vrabel Titan experience. Period.
I think you stole that from me, first of all. And second of all, I'll give you another one on top of that. Bills revenge game for Music City Miracle.
Well, you know what? How about 22-16 final score? Bills win. That would be the ultimate revenge because that was the final score of the Music City Miracle. All right, Packers, Cowboys, the big late game on Sunday. 10 early games, 2 late games. Nobody cares about Chargers, Broncos. Everybody cares about Packers, Cowboys. Both teams lost last week. They're trying to get it right. If Davante Adams does not play, I've got no faith in the Packers offense. And I don't know how much faith I have in the Cowboys offense after what happened in New Orleans, but I got more faith in them right now than Green Bay.
I have a lot of faith in the Cowboys offense in this game because what happened to the Cowboys in New Orleans is that the Saints have a premier defensive line, and they're able to basically say, go ahead and try to beat us when you can't set up the run, when you can't have Ezekiel Elliott run the ball and set up that play action that Kellen Moore and Dak Prescott want to do. The Packers are a different scenario altogether. They have regressed every single week when it comes to run defense, Mike. They got absolutely gashed by the Eagles last week. It happened as well against the reason why Joe Flacco actually put together a decent game and they had a close game with the Broncos, the same thing. The run defense wasn't there. The Cowboys are going to be able to do whatever they want on offense because if the Cowboys can run the ball, everything opens up for them, and everything looks easy. You know exactly what I'm talking about when Dak Prescott runs play action and there's not a defender anywhere close to him, and he can roll out and has all day to throw it downfield. That's what's going to happen. So I think Aaron Rodgers will be able to keep it close because he's Aaron Rodgers, but the Cowboys are going to be able to do what they want on offense, and I'm going to say there's going to be a lot of points.
Yeah, and look, Aaron Rodgers looked great last Thursday night. But if Devontae Adams is out of the mix, I don't know who's going to draw attention away from Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Jimmy Graham, Geronimo Allison, guys that if all of a sudden they're blanketed with extra help, the extra help that usually goes to Adams, I don't know that they're going to get it done. That's why I believe in the Cowboys in this one. But, hey, a great game. Both teams started 3-0. They were feeling good about themselves. One of them's going to be 3-2 barring a tie, and then you just have to continue to dig out. But I like the home team. I like the Cowboys in that one. All right, and the Colts and the Chiefs getting together. Sunday Night Football. Here's the problem. Patrick Mahomes is unstoppable. We're going to talk about that later in the program, but the guy is one of the best quarterbacks I've ever seen. No, he's the best quarterback I've ever seen, and I think it's fair to say in only his second season as a starter, he's arguably the best ever at what he can do with a football, what he can do with his legs, the whole package, the release point, the release speed, everything about it. Patrick Mahomes is incredible, and the Colts are going to find out firsthand. And apparently, they've been picking the brain of Justin Houston, one of their new teammates, to get tips on Mahomes. You can tell him all you want. It's not going to matter because you're still going to have to go stop him, and no one can.
Well, the Colts already found out firsthand, and it was in that playoff game that you just showed. But you're right, Mike. Patrick Mahomes is simply incredible. The craziest part about Patrick Mahomes and being incredible and as good as he is, he's actually statistically, and maybe not like the raw stats, maybe not yards, touchdowns, whatever, even though he had no touchdowns last week, he's statistically not been as good as he was last year, and he's still incredible. So it's like people are saying, he's taken maybe a tiny smidgen of a step back because there's always that correction, the market correction in the NFL, and he's still dominant, and he's still incredible. So I'm with you here. I think the Chiefs, I think this is one of those show-out games for the Chiefs where they'll run it up a little bit and, remind everyone that it's not just the Patriots, it's also the Chiefs and the AFC.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. And really, it is the Patriots and the Chiefs. Great offense, great defense, and they're destined to meet in the regular season December 8th, and it feels like they're destined to meet again in the postseason. Vikings and Giants meet again at MetLife Stadium. There was a stretch where they played every single year, and this is an opportunity now for the Vikings to try to get right after the debacle last week at Soldier Field. And ordinarily, I'd say this is a game the Vikings should win, and they tend to win the games they're supposed to win. They lose the games they're not supposed to win, and Kirk Cousins plays poorly in the games they're not supposed to win. But after everything that's happened this week, with Adam Thielen calling him out, Kirk Cousins apologizing publicly to Thielen, Stephon Diggs clearly wanting out, and no sense that anybody is really in position to clunk heads together and get everyone on the same page, I think this could end up being a disaster for the Vikings.
Yeah, I agree with you. It could be a disaster for the Vikings. Remember, this is also a revenge game, though, for the Vikings for the NFC Championship game in 2001. So it will be interesting to see if there's any bad feelings left over from that game. But I agree with you, Mike. The Vikings they're in disarray right now. Here's the only thing that I'll say in favor of the Vikings in this game. They're going to be able to run the football. And if the Vikings can run the football, everything else works. Because Kirk Cousins, if he has to throw it 30 times, you're going to lose. You're going to have a bad time. So I think it's going to be a competitive game. On the other side, Daniel Jones getting Golden Tate back right now at a perfect time when, that's a perfect compliment to what he is doing and what he's doing as a, young quarterback of the league. I think it's going to be a tight game. I'd go with the Vikings, but it's going to be close, and I think it's going to be an exciting game. One of those games that pops up and you're like, oh, that's a really good game. That's fun to watch.
If it's close, the Vikings will lose. Just like I said 2 weeks ago with the Raiders. If it's close, the Vikings will lose. If the Vikings win, it's going to be by 10 points or more. And Kevin Stefanski, the offensive coordinator, is he going to feel any heat to maybe open up the passing game a little bit to placate Diggs and Thielen? This could get complicated. This could be the Vikings thinking too much, Kirk Cousins thinking too much. But I agree with you. If they just run the ball, they should be fine. Oh, by the way, Saquon Barkley still might play in this one. They have not ruled him out, even though he's only 2 weeks removed from a high ankle sprain. Jags-Panthers real quickly. Minshew versus Kyle Allen. Who do you like in that one?
Oof. I went against Gardner Minshew last week, and I feel like, such an idiot when I watched that last drive and saw that moxie and saw him put the ball in his hand. So I'll stay with the Minshew mania. I'll go with the Jaguars. I'm going to just ride it till I get off at this point. Till it falls off, I'm riding the Jaguars. I'm riding Minshew mania.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.